Hello, everybody, and welcome to Haiku Talk. I'm your host, Ben Ga, your friendly neighborhood haiku poet. And tonight, on a snowy winter evening in St. Louis, we're going to take a look at a piece from the current issue of Hedgerow, a piece by Joshua St. Clair, a one-liner with the first kind of bit of it is where it all started. All right. So with that said, you know what time it is. It's time to sit back, relax, grab yourself a tasty beverage, and let's haiku. Welcome back, everybody. It's good to be with you again for another episode of Haiku Talk. And today we've got a nice one from Joshua St. Clair. I said at the top that we're going to sit back and relax and let's haiku, but it's actually a senryu. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a tasty beverage, and let's senryu. It's December 1st. It is snowy and icy and cold here in St. Louis. You might hear the background hum of my heater that's on. I'm just going to let that run because it's cold. Normally I try to deaden those things out to lessen the background noise, but tonight we get what we get. It's the way the weather works. Okay, so let's take a look at this one-liner from Joshua St. Clair from the latest issue, or the current issue of Hedgerow, which is number 150. It goes like this. Where it all started fading, Polaroid. Where it all started fading, Polaroid. Yep, I like this one. And I like this one for a number of reasons. I will say that let's break it down, and then I'll talk a little bit more about it. So how do you break down one-line haiku? Sometimes it's nice and easy. Sometimes it's a little tricky. But in this case, I think we do have kind of a middle pivot, if you will. I think that if we started off with the first type of image, or the first type of thing, it's where it all started is where that first section would be, where it all started. Then the middle pivot here is fading, and then it ends with Polaroid. So that's how I kind of break this up. Where it all started, fading, Polaroid. And the way that this kind of reads together is that I read it as, you can see, where it all started fading, Polaroid, meaning that what started is now fading. And then you also have where it all started, and then you're looking at a fading Polaroid, and that's where you see where it all started. However you want to read it, there's not really a wrong way to go about it, but the thing that really captures my attention about it is the idea of looking at an old faded Polaroid. And in that faded Polaroid, we see the beginning of something taking place. And it makes me think of, how many things that are in the past now that did begin with something that could have been captured on a photograph. And a photograph that fades. And this is something that is a generational divide, right, of experience. Because there are generations of people, of young people, that have grown up without ever having a film camera. Everything's been digital. There's no sense of having the print of something that can fade over time, much less a Polaroid. Although I know Polaroids are kind of hip in some circles and people use them as kind of a cool thing, but that's a little bit different than being the only kind of record that you have of an event in the past. And I'm of an age where, I grew up, I was born in the last century. And so this makes me feel a little bit about myself and that generational divide also fading as we get older. We just had the Thanksgiving holiday here in the United States. And so, we gathered with family. You kind of give thanks for the people that are there. You're thankful for the people that are no longer there and the impact that they've had on your life. And, inevitably now as my dad gets older, he's starting to give away photographs, give away things from the house that he doesn't need anymore, or is trying to find home for things. And invariably in these pictures, you find things that might be where things started. And these memories that are captured on a photograph of things started, or a time where a major life change might not have happened yet. Because you're looking back in time and from the present, and in the present tense, how the storylines go. What choices were made. What accidents happen. How the future plays out. But when you take a look at that still shot of the past and you hold it in your hand, the physical object of holding it in your hand, and there is a difference between holding a physical object in your hand and looking at a digital screen, or even looking at a picture on the phone. Which you're still holding in your hand, but that physical object of the photograph, it's the only one there is. There's no backup copy. It's not stored in the cloud. It's just this tangible object that's showing something. And once that picture starts to fade, once that physical thing starts to degrade in resolution, it's going to be lost forever. And so it's that precious moment, that thing that we hold on to, or that memory that we held from the past that now is triggered in the present. So that thing where it all started, fading Polaroid. I know that it's just, it really hits. It really hits. And it's another example for me of a poem that is something I read differently now at this age, this point in my life, than I would have as a younger person. Because when you get older, I'll be 50 next year, you start to look at things differently, hold on to things differently, realize that things will go away, that things do end, that things can be lost. And this key word here, and this I guess two key words, it's the fading Polaroid, are the things that I latch onto the most in this piece, because of that losing something, a tangible connection to something that started, who knows, started a computer company, started a relationship, started the building of a house, started a series of vacations where you go back to the same spot, started a friendship, started a divorce, started all sorts of things, anything that could have began something that changed. And this plays into the wonderful and powerful nature of a haiku and a senryu, is that they don't tell us all the specifics. They leave the things vacant. We don't know what it is that was started here in this poem. That the poem asks us as readers to supply that part of the story, to supply that part of the poem. And so when we read this, we complete it. And we complete it from our own life, from our own story, from our own life, which is just an amazing thing that this form does that other forms don't, because this is like baked into what a haiku and senryu do. All that white space on the page is left for the reader to fill in with the details of their lives, and that's really, really cool. And this one definitely got me out, and I started sketching all over the white space from my own life. It's hit very close to home this time of year, this time in my life. And I have friends who have lost parents within the last couple days, And knowing what that's like, and knowing that they're going to be going back and looking through photos to commemorate the people that they've lost, this is a reoccurring process of us going through as humans and remembering, relearning, rediscovering ourselves, rediscovering the parts of our lives that we forget about. And in this case, a fading Polaroid reminds us where it all started. Where it all started. Yes, very, very good. Thank you, Joshua, and thank you, Hedgerow, for another fine issue. Carolyn Skane. Another physical copy of things. I love digital. I love it, love it, love it. But there's something very satisfying and gratifying of having something to hold in my hand, something I can write in, something I can look at and come back through and leaf through. And so it also reminded me how much I like print media, how much I glancing over at my records and DVDs and CDs and books, all this stuff. Big fan of all that stuff. And maybe it is because I'm a holdover from last century, and younger folks don't understand why you'd want to have a physical copy of something when you can stream it or view it for free anywhere in the world on any device you have. But those of us that grew up with physical things, they're hard to let go of. And we shouldn't be forced to let go of them. Like the fading Polaroid here was a good discovery, something that is probably going to stay out, or now that it's surfaced, it's going to be something that's treasured and moved to a more prominent place of revisiting more often. And that concludes another episode of Haiku Talk. So thank you all for tuning in. Just a little update if you are following along in real time. My last 2 issues or episodes were around my latest book, and A Wild Blue Sky. And that book is now available at all online retailers. So if anywhere you want to buy a book, or you have a local bookstore, you can order that book through your local bookstore and they'll get it to you. So it's now available anywhere you are. So if you want a book, please do order a copy. I appreciate it, and whoever gets the copy, hopefully they'll appreciate it too. That said, thanks for tuning in. I hope you having a wonderful day. Hopefully, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, you're starting to feel that closure, the winding down of the year, where we reach out and get close to family and friends and think about things and think about life and hole up and huddle up in our homes because it's cold. If you're in the South, I hope you're enjoying a warm, hot summer. Until next time, take it easy, everybody. Take it easy.